I wasted thousands of dollars and wasted a bunch of my time on language learning tutoring sessions in 4 different languages. And if you don't want to make the same mistake, I've got a handful of ideas that you can use to get the most out of your sessions. Okay, so the first thing and really important is to record every single session. And what I usually do is I just go on my phone, go to voice memos and just record it. And then every once in a while, maybe like once or twice a week, I'll go through my voice memos and I just listen back. And I found that this is really effective just because like the conversations that I'm having with my tutors are like very personal to me or like interesting to me and relevant. And I feel like, well, definitely relevant info is much more easy to reinforce. And the great thing about Apple voice memos is that it lets you skip the silence and also change the speed. And I feel like the skip and silences thing is especially useful because I speak with a lot of uhs and ahs when I speak in other languages. So just being able to skip past those pauses is like very time saving. The next idea I would suggest is to think about what you want to talk about beforehand every single time. So you don't necessarily have to tell your tutor what you want to talk about, but you also can. But what I do is I kind of imagine the conversation I'm going to have. I kind of write down like a couple of topics I want to talk about. And then I imagine myself having that conversation with my tutor. And then if I come up with any words that I don't know in that language, then I look it up and then I kind of practice with that so that when the tutoring session comes, I'll be more ready. Now, do I do this all the time? No. Should I? Yes. Another piece of advice is to not watch videos if you can manage it during these sessions because I feel like they're okay sometimes. But if you're paying for tutoring, you should really work on things that you could only do in that session. And watching a video and understanding it is something you could do outside of the session easily. In fact, I definitely think it's better to watch videos outside of the lesson because then there's less pressure and I think it's just easier that way. But yeah, for me, listening to stuff, I can do that anytime I want. But what I can't do all the time is speak to someone and be corrected, or speak to someone and not be corrected, because I also like that too. There's different, styles to being tutored. So, speaking of which, I guess that's the next idea. Tell your tutor if you feel like they're correcting you too much. 'Cause personally, I don't like to be corrected at all. I usually just like to ask if that's the right way to say something. As long as the person understands, I feel like that's okay. But when someone corrects you too often, I feel like it makes you more restrictive in what you're saying or more conscious of what you're saying. And that's never really good to have in language learning. So I would suggest that you tell your tutor, like, okay, only do that sometimes or don't do that at all, whatever you feel most comfortable with. For a second, I want to go back to the whole recording the sessions thing because I do audio just because it's easy for access, but you can also do video. And that also works pretty well because then you can see yourself like struggle and go through and like I feel like it's better for seeing how you improve, especially because you can't skip silences on a video. And so then you actually see how you're getting better over time. So I guess it's like a sub part of that tip to not just record the videos, but when you watch them, be conscious of how you've gotten better and how you don't struggle as much anymore. Because it's kind of hard to remember that in the day-to-day process because it's like never a day when you like get a lot better in one day in language learning. And so it always feels like you're never really progressing. But when you watch these recordings, it helps a lot. Also, if you want a free way to talk to people in different countries, where it's kind of like a tutoring session, but more informal, then you can use the app Lingby. I keep on recommending it to people. And I made a video about it that you can totally check out.